Good day everyone. In this presentation, I'll be discuss the best application of management accounting in business, how it helps decision makers for plans for 10 to 20 years, and how it helps school expand, and how it helps school offers the most profitable courses. So the role of management accounting, based on our lecture, management accounting helps manager in three major areas: planning, controlling, and decision making. First, planning, where management accounting helps managers set future goals, prepare budget, and estimate future revenues and costs. Second is controlling, where manager compares the actual performance with planned performance to determine if the operation are meeting the expectation. Third is decision making, where manager uses accounting data to choose the best course of action among the alternatives. Overall, the management accounting provides internal financial information that helps manager guide operation and make a better strategic decision. The best application of management accounting in business includes budgeting and forecasting, cost, volume, profit analysis, relevant costing, standard costing, and performance evaluation. First, we have budget and forecasting. This helps business estimate the future revenues and expenses. Next, we have CVP analysis. This will help determine the break-even sales and target profit. Next, we have relevant costing, helps manager choose between the alternatives by considering only costs that will change. Standing costing helps costs by comparing expected costs to actual costs. And lastly, performance evaluation allows manager to measure how efficiently the department or the employees perform. For the cost value profit analysis, one major application is CVP. CVP helps manager determine how many units must be sold to cover all costs to begin earning profit. To compute break-even units, we must use a formula. Break-even units equals the fixed cost divided by the contribution margin per unit. First, we compute the contribution margin per unit. Contribution margin means how much each sales contribute towards covering the fixed cost after variable costs are divided. So, selling price is 100 pesos minus the variable cost 60 pesos, giving us a contribution margin of 40 pesos. Next, we divide the cost of 500,000 pesos by the contribution margin of 40. That gives us 12,500. This means the company must sell 12,500 units before it earns any profit. Manager will use this to set sales target and pricing strategy. Next, we have relevant costing. So, for the relevant costing focus on cost and revenue that will change depending on the decision. For example, if a company is deciding whether to manufacture a part internally or buy it from the supplier. So that's an example. So internal cost makes 80,000 per unit, while the supplier price costs 70 per unit. Since buying is cheaper for 10 pesos per unit, management may choose to buy instead. So basically, I'm giving an example which 80 pesos per unit and 70 pesos per unit, since the cheaper one is the supplier price. Manager may choose it to buy it instead. So relevant costing is useful in make or buy decision, accepting special orders, and deciding whether to discontinue product lines. This will help managers avoid considering irrelevant or sunk costs when making decisions. Next, we have standard costing. Standard costing is another key application of management accounting. Business sets standards or expected costs for materials, labor, and overhead. Then they compare the actual cost to those standards. For example, standard materials cost is 50 pesos per unit, and the actual material cost is 60 pesos per unit. So variance equals the actual cost minus the standard cost. So the 60 minus 50 equals 10 pesos of the unfavorable variance. This means the company will spend 10 pesos more than expected per unit. Managers then investigate the costs such as the supplier's price increase, waste, and inefficiency. This will help improve the cost and operational efficiency. So, how it helps how it helps plan for the 10 and 20 years ahead. So, managers accounting also help decision makers plan for the next 10 to 20 years. What it does is through long-term budgeting, forecasting, and evaluating expansion projects, and analyzing future profitability. By estimating the future revenue, cost, and market demand, manager can also make strategy decision today that supports long-term business growth. This ensures that the resources are invested to the project that aligns to the company's future. I'll give you an example for a long-term planning. So we have here investment cost 20 million. So what is this example is like building a new branch of a school like that. So the investment cost is 20 million pesos and the expected annual net cash flow is 4 million and the payback period is 5 years. For example, suppose company wants to build a new branch. The branch requires to invest 20 million pesos and is expected to generate 4 million pesos net of cash flow. To determine how long it takes to recover the investment, manager computes the payback period. For the formula, the payback period equals the investment cost divided by the annual net cash flow. So 20 million divided by 4 million equals 5 years. So this means the company will recover the investment in 5 years. Manager can use this information to evaluate whether the expansion is financially worth pursuing. So, how management accounting helps schools expand? So, management accounting can also help school expand. School can forecast future students to enroll, estimate demand for additional classroom, buildings, or campuses. They can prepare budgets for construction, staffing, and equipment. Manager also can project the tuition revenue against the expansion costs to determine if the expansion is financially sustainable. This ensures they expand when the project is benefits outweighs the costs. So how can it help school offer the most profitable course by using the management accounting? So management accounting helps schools determine which academic program generates the highest profitability by analyzing the revenue and the costs associated with each course offering. To evaluate the profitability, the school can prepare a profitability analysis for each program using a formula. So what we did here is like profit equals revenue minus variable cost minus fixed cost. So the revenue includes tuition fee and fees generated by the student enrolled in this program. So variable costs are the costs that change depending on the number of students, such as instruction, materials, supplies, per student, software license, and for fixed costs are remaining the relatives of enrollment, such as faculty salaries, maintenance, and departure overhead. For business program. In here, we have an example of revenue 10 million pesos minus the variable of 4 million minus the fixed cost 3 million, so resulting to a 3 million pesos profit. For IT program, revenue 12 million minus the variable cost 6 million minus the fixed cost 4 million and resulted to 2 million profit. For fine art, basically it reaches to a 1 million, negative 1 million. From this analysis, manager can conduct business program which is the most profitable, followed by the IT, while fine art is currently at the operation of a loss. This information can help school administration make decisions such as first increasing the investment in a high profit programs by expanding facilities, faculty, and parity. Second is improving low-performing programs by reducing unnecessary costs and redesign the curriculum. And third, reassessing whether the unprofitable programs should be maintained for statistic or academic research. Overall, the management accounting helps schools allocate the limited resources efficiency and ensure the academic offering remains financially sustainable while meeting the institutional goals.